Welcome back to the Deep Dive. We're diving into some legal documents from India today. An Indian court case, actually. Yeah, it looks like things are getting pretty heated over in Root.
It's a public interest litigation, a PIL, filed by an organization called Come On India.
Come on, India!
Yeah. They're going up against, well, against a whole bunch of government entities.
So what's the issue? What are they saying?
Illegal encroachment on public land, possibly some misappropriation of funds, too. Oh, and a whole lot of violations, environmental regulations, that sort of thing.
Come on, India, though. What's their deal? What's the story there?
Looks like a local activist group, focused on environmental protection, holding the government accountable, that kind of thing.
Right.
PILs, like this one, they're a pretty powerful tool for citizens in India, especially when they want to raise concerns about things that affect the public good.
Okay. So the heart of this case seems to be something called a johar.
Ah, yes. The johar. It's a traditional community pond. Yeah, incredibly important in India. Irrigation, livestock, sometimes even drinking water. Really vital.
Okay, so important. But why is it the center of a legal battle? What happened?
Well, they help recharge groundwater, act as natural flood control, too. Essential for the ecosystem and community life, too. Yeah.
Got it. So really important for a lot of reasons. But someone messed with it.
That's what Come On India is claiming. They say a private builder encroached on the land meant for this johar. And get this, they're saying the government actually issued a sale deed and a freehold title to the builder.
Whoa. So it's not just some builder going rogue. This sounds like maybe some officials are in on it.
That's a serious accusation. And there's more. The authorities are saying, oh, we built a new pond, an alternate one. But Come On India's pushing back.
Saying what?
Saying it's just an empty promise. Undeveloped, despite them spending a reported Rs 24.60 lakh. A pretty hefty sum.
So a key resource is gone, a lot of money has seemingly vanished, and Come On India is stepping up to fight.
Yeah, and they're not messing around. They're bringing in the Public Trust Doctrine.
The what now?
It basically says that resources like water bodies, they're owned by the government. Yeah, but they're held in trust for the public's benefit.
Makes sense.
Come On India is arguing the government straight up failed in its duty to protect this public resource.
So this is more than just like an emotional plea. They're going for a solid legal argument here.
Well, absolutely, citing specific articles from the Indian Constitution, bringing in case law, like the big one, Hinch Lal Tiwari v. Kamala Devi. Supreme Court case upheld the public's right to, access and benefit from ponds and those sorts of resources. Oh, and they're bringing up a 1977 government order, too.
What's that about?
It's about the rank of investigating officers in these sorts of cases. They're suggesting the whole investigation might have been flawed from the get-go.
Okay, that's serious. So what's the end game here for Come On India? What are they asking for?
They're asking the High Court, the one at Allahabad, to issue some writs. Yeah, like legal orders, compelling the government to take specific actions.
Interesting. Okay, so what kind of actions are we talking about?
Well, first off, they want that alternate pond built.
Yeah.
Immediately.
So we're going to take the original one, got to replace it, right?
Exactly. And then there's the money issue. They want an independent audit. Investigation into how that potentially non-existent pond was paid for. Show us the receipts, right?
Makes sense to me. So they're hitting both angles,
right.
The environment and the potential financial mess.
Right on. And it doesn't stop there. They want the court to force the recovery of the construction costs from the encroachers and any officials involved in, any potential fund misappropriation.
Wow, so they're going after their wallets. That's got to sting.
It sends a strong message. They're also pushing for disciplinary action against any officials who might have, allowed this whole situation to happen. Accountability, right?
Yeah.
Plus, they want a public apology, an acknowledgement of the encroachment, and a plan to fix it. Transparency, rebuilding trust, all that good stuff.
And what about that 1977 government order you mentioned before? How does that fit in?
It's like they're saying the investigation might have been compromised because of lower-ranking officials involved, strengthening their argument for a new independent investigation. Plus, they're invoking a statewide directive from the UP Revenue Board to protect public pond lands, basically saying, hey, this isn't just about one johar, this is a bigger issue.
So this seemingly small dispute, it could have a much bigger impact.
That's what makes it so fascinating. Environmental law, government accountability, even the idea of public trust itself. It all ties in. And it raises questions about how we balance development with environmental protection. especially in a place like India, developing so rapidly.
That's a good point. Progress is important, but not at the cost of the environment or, people's well-being.
Exactly. This case shows how important it is for citizens to hold their government accountable. PILs like this, they give individuals and organizations a way to challenge actions they believe are harmful.
Almost like a legal David and Goliath, with the citizens taking on these big government entities. By the way, how often does this sort of thing happen in India? Is this a one-off, or is it part of a trend?
That's a great question, and one we should definitely explore further. Sadly, encroachment on public land, it's not that uncommon in India. But before we dive into all that, let's just recap for a sec what we know about this case specifically.
Yes, good idea. It's easy to get lost in the details. So, key takeaways so far.
Well, this case really showcases the power of the Public Trust Doctrine, this legal principle that holds governments responsible for protecting natural resources for the benefit of everyone. And it shows how PILs can be powerful tools for citizens, demanding transparency and accountability.
What's jumping out at you so far?
What about you?
I'm kind of struck by the boldness of it all. If come on India is right, we're talking about blatant disregard for the environment, for public trust. It makes you wonder how many other Johars are out there just disappear. It's a really good question. And one we'll keep digging into as we go deeper into this case. We'll look at how common this is, how tough it is to fight back, all that.
Definitely. I'm really curious to hear more about the bigger picture here, what this case could mean for India and beyond when it comes to the environment.
Let's unpack those complex issues next. So, encroachment on public land in India. It's not exactly a rare thing, is it?
You said it wasn't. What makes it such a problem there?
It's complicated. A lot of factors. Urbanization, that's a big one. Cities growing, more people need more space.
Yeah, that makes sense. Demand for land goes up.
Exactly. And public land, it's an easy target. But there are systems in place, right, to protect those lands.
There are, yeah, laws, regulations, but I guess enforcement is tricky.
Enforcement can be, well, inconsistent. Resources sometimes, not enough people to watch everything. And then there's, well, sometimes it's just plain corruption.
So bureaucracy and then people taking advantage of the system.
Pretty much. And land ownership records. Legal processes, it's a mess. Makes it really hard for, regular people to fight back against these encroachments.
Sounds like you're fighting an uphill battle. What kinds of obstacles do people usually run into?
Well, first off, litigation in India. It's slow, expensive too. Even figuring out the legal system is hard enough, especially if you don't have, resources or legal help. And then there's the risk. You're going up against powerful people who might not play fair. They might try to shut you up.
David versus Goliath, but with even more complications.
Good way to put it. Takes a lot of guts to stand up like that.
Yeah.
But PILs, they're a glimmer of hope despite everything. People can act as watchdogs, shine a light on things that are wrong.
So, come on, India is taking a risk with this lawsuit.
Definitely a risk.
Yeah.
But they're setting an example, too, showing that people can make a difference, that they have a right to demand better from their government.
Okay, let's say the court sides with, come on, India. What happens to the government officials?
Depends on the court, really. What they order, how serious the violations are.
Yeah.
Could be anything from, like, a slap on the wrist, disciplinary action.
Like suspended, demoted.
Yeah, something like that. Or, if it's really bad, criminal charges.
So there are actual consequences if they're found guilty of being involved in this encroachment or the missing money.
Big-time consequences.
Yeah.
This case, it could set a precedent, make people think twice about messing with the public trust, show that environmental rules matter.
Interesting. So zooming out a bit, how much impact do these PILs really have in terms of actually protecting the environment in India?
They've been huge. Led to some landmark decisions, stronger environmental laws, public awareness, all that. Even the fact that they exist, it gives citizens power.
So it's not just a symbolic gesture?
They can be very effective. But like anything legal, it depends. How strong is the case? What does the court say? Will the government actually follow through?
Right, so it's not a guaranteed victory. It's messy, complicated.
Yeah. But even when they don't win outright, PILs make people ask questions, spark debate, push for more accountability, more transparency.
This whole case really comes down to that public trust doctrine. Can you talk more about that? Not just for this case, but in general.
It's a fundamental principle. The government has a duty to protect natural resources for everyone, now and in the future.
So clean air, clean water, healthy environment for all.
Exactly. Basic rights. And the public trust doctrine gives us a way to uphold those rights It's about recognizing that we're all connected to nature, part of this bigger system.
It's like, come on, India is tapping into that idea. It's not just about them, it's about everyone.
Protecting something we all share, it's a good reminder that we don't have to wait for someone else to fix things. We can demand better.
What surprises you most about this case?
It's how bold they are, the people who allegedly did this, to just ignore the rules, the public trust. It's like they think they can get away with anything. That's why it's so important to have groups like Come On India and a legal system that actually works.
Yeah, makes you wonder how much else goes on that we don't even know about. What about you? Anything stand out to you? It's how many layers there are. It's the environment, yeah, but it's also government accountability, money, people power. It's all connected.
Absolutely. It's a microcosm of everything we're facing, trying to make the world more just, more sustainable. Let's switch gears for a minute. Imagine you're, Come On India. What would you do next?
That's interesting. Get more people on board, I think. Other community groups, environmental organizations, lawyers who know what they're doing, strengthen numbers, right?
For sure. Public pressure is powerful, especially when you're up against the government. What else?
Get the media involved. Tell the story to everyone. Shine a light on it so they can't hide. Transparency is key, especially when you're accusing the government of wrongdoing.
Great strategies. Sounds like you've got a future in activism. Let's pause here for a second. Think about what we've learned. Then we'll wrap up this deep dive.
We've been through a lot with this deep dive. From that case in Meerut all the way to like the bigger picture in India, environmental protection, how the government's held accountable. It all starts with a pond, but it really opens up so many questions, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. It's all connected, isn't it? How we protect the environment, public trust, sustainable development, and it shows that people can make a difference. You need a strong legal system, too, one that can actually hold those in power accountable.
So as we wrap things up here, if our listener could only take away a few things, what would those be? What have we learned from all this?
Well, we all have a responsibility to protect what's ours, what we all share. Like what Come On India is doing. You don't have to just stand by and watch. You can organize, you can fight back, use the law to demand change, protect the environment.
Right, so we all have a voice. We can make a difference, even when it feels like you're going up against, a giant.
Absolutely. And knowing how the law works helps. Knowing what tools are out there, whether it's this public trust doctrine or other environmental laws, they can be powerful if you know how to use them.
So be informed, get involved. Don't wait for someone else to fix it.
Exactly. And this case shows us one more thing. Protecting the environment. It's not just some abstract idea. It's about real people, real communities, their lives.
Right. Destroying a pond might not seem like a big deal in the grand scheme of things, but for the people who depend on it, it's devastating.
It is. We're all connected. What we do today, it has consequences down the line.
It makes you think, doesn't it? If people can rally around a pond, what other fights are out there for the environment, for the future?
There are so many battles being fought every day by individuals, communities, organizations all over the world. This case is just one example of how much courage it takes to stand up for what's right.
This deep dive has been really eye-opening. We've seen how complex environmental protection is in India, the challenges, the opportunities. What stands out to you?
It's given me hope, actually. Knowing that there are people out there fighting for what they believe in, working towards a better future for all of us.
So to our listener, we'll leave you with this. What role will you play in protecting what's ours? What will you do to make sure we leave a healthy planet for the next generation?
Remember, even small actions can make a difference. It all starts with each of us.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, keep exploring, keep asking questions, keep diving deeper.